Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my Elden Ring boss reviews. Today I'm talking about the Mad Pumpkinhead, who can be found in the Waypoint Ruins in Limgrave. And I would say that this is probably my least favorite boss name in any FromSoft game I've played so far. Like, I get it, not every boss has a unique cool name like Margit the Fell Omen or Artorias the Abyss Walker, but if you're gonna do a boss name where it's just an adjective and a noun, can we get something better than Mad Pumpkinhead? Like, in Dark Souls we had Ceaseless Discharge, and Ceaseless Discharge sounds disgusting, but it's evocative as well. Mad Pumpkinhead sounds like a Charlie Brown Halloween special.
It's the Great Pumpkin! He's rising up out of the pumpkin patch!
Yeah, so that name already feels like the well of creativity has been tapped. I mean, just having a pumpkin for a head does not qualify one to be a boss. But what really sucks here is that the actual pumpkin head atop the Mad Pumpkinhead is the only good part about this boss. Visually, it looks like a terrible torture device, this vice-like metallic pot that's stuck on this guy's head, and the sound design is really strong with all of his muffled grunts and moans. Like, you get the feeling that he is trapped inside of this thing, and that he's not really evil. Plus, it's a nice touch that the Pumpkinhead acts as a shield. You can't just guard counter this guy to death. But wait, you can! If his head isn't actually down, your guard counters work perfectly fine, and he's incredibly squishy. I mean, seriously, this is 5 guard counters in a fight that lasts under 2 minutes. Also, he's a big giant ogre, he's not dodging anything, so he poses very little challenge whatsoever. Plus, for a guy who's got such a wicked flail, his attacks are surprisingly weak. Like, I really feel like this should be doing way more damage than it actually is. But no amount of beefing up will make this moveset any less generic. He's got horizontal swings, vertical swings, a punch, none of which I remembered until I was watching this footage. He does have a head bash because, you know, he's got a pumpkin head, but this still feels very much like Boss 101 stuff. A couple of times he really winds up and looks like he's gonna demolish me, but it ends up petering out like a swing from Mr. Burns. So really simplistic attack patterns, takes a lot of damage. It's no wonder this guy was super easy and I killed him without dying. And I'm sorry, you just aren't gonna win any Boss of the Year awards if you're an unmemorable pushover. But maybe the boss arena is interesting. Nope, it's a room. But how about his looks aside from that pumpkin head? Is he visually impressive at all, like many a FromSoft boss from the past? Well, he's wearing tattered clothes, he's got a cloak on, and he's got some chains. And he appears to be an ogre of some sort. So maybe his name should have been Disheveled Ogre, which might actually have been the case, and then they realized that that was a stupid name, so they plopped a pumpkin head on him, renamed him, and called it a day. Yeah, so this guy sucks, and I wish this wasn't even a boss fight in the game. I mean, that's probably my only complaint about Elden Ring. There's too many generic bosses. But like, with this guy, I can't even really surmise any sort of lore reason for him being here. I mean, he's protecting Selen, who's a sorceress who's considered an apostate witch by the Academy of Realicaria. So my first thought was that this guy was an experiment gone horribly wrong, and he's just suffering in anguish in that dank cellar until the player character shows up. But then why is there one of these guys guarding this bridge heading east out of Limgrave? And why is one of these guys part of the mob of Godric's soldiers who've taken over Kenneth Heights' fortress in the Mistwood? Like, did Selen create them all? Or are they created by glintstone magics and then scattered all about the lands between? I don't know. He just feels like a guy who someone came up with a stupid name and made him into a boss. And honestly, I think he works much better as a regular enemy. But then again, unqualified people are getting promoted all the time. Why not you, Mad Pumpkinhead? But even if he got promoted, I'm still only going to give him a 1 out of 5. He's not completely terrible, but he achieves that feat that no boss is shooting for. That is, you completely forget about them immediately. I mean, I almost accidentally skipped over this video, and the only reason I got reminded of him was my inept walkthrough series. I was doing that video, and I was like, oh yeah, I fought this guy. How about that? Ranking him, I'd have him as a distant third amongst the bosses that I've beaten and reviewed post-tutorial. And I'm thinking the only bosses who are going to end up lower are going to be similarly generic or super frustrating beds of chaos types. And finally, here are some of my stats from my one and only fight with this guy. I first fought him at 12 hours and 5 minutes, and I beat him at 12 hours and 7 minutes. Incredible. That is 0 deaths for those of you who are counting. The fight took 1 minute 43 seconds, which is kind of embarrassing. That's a bit too long for this giant oaf to be holding out on me. It's also embarrassing that at one point I let this guy almost kill me. But you know who should be embarrassed? The Mad Pumpkinhead. I have no more stats for him. I'm sorry, Mad Pumpkinhead, but you gotta kill me at least once before I devote more time to you. But thank you all for devoting your time to watching this. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of this guy. I have plenty of other Elden Ring content on my channel. I do these boss reviews, but I also have these longer, sort of narrated tour guides that I call inept walkthroughs of my playthrough, where I highlight all the various mistakes and poor decisions that I make throughout the game. Check them out!